Welcome Yamhill County to Speaking Frankly. I'm your host, Howie Harkema, and our tagline is, "And how we doin'?" Today I have two great guests with me. They're both from Zero Waste McMinnville. I have Ramsey McPhillips and Annalie Germaine. Welcome, Ramsey.
Thanks.
Welcome, Annalie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here today. So, to begin with, so that our viewers know, what is Zero Waste McMinnville?
Zero Waste McMinnville is a non-profit organization formed here in McMinnville because there was a need for some upbeat activity related to solid waste, shall we say. It was a very divisive conflict in the county and in the city relating to a regional landfill.
Right.
And we felt that there was a way to sort of bring the community together to find alternatives to the landfill that both people who were in opposition and for the landfill could get together and break bread and make some good do on reducing the amount of waste that goes to landfills and incinerators. So Zero Waste was created 4 years ago.
Okay.
With a goal. And the goal was to make McMinnville the first city in Oregon to be zero waste in 10 years. Since we've been involved with that, we've pulled back a little bit with our declaration. But we're still very much hoping that we can move the diversion rate, that being the amount of waste that goes to landfills and to incinerators, during this 10-year period. And we're more heading towards being an organization that really enthusiastically educates the public about how we can get there through this incredible trilogy the city has, which is an amazing hauler, Recology, the city, McMinnville, which is really willing to help us, and our organization.
Right.
And we're looking at, down the road, a sustainable city that's kind of in the background because we have all of these individual goals for addressing specific problems. But the approach to sustainability in McMinnville is piecemeal,
yes,
at best. And it needs to be kind of massaged into a global approach. That's the long-range look.
So what is the diversion goal now?
Well, it's still 90%, which is the conceptual number that Zero Waste around the world uses. There's always going to be a little bit of waste that is unrecyclable or unreusable, that's not going to fit into that concept. And so everyone is trying to get to this 90%. The city of New York, any countries, they're all using this sort of bracket of zero waste.
Sure. So do you need additional volunteers and members for Zero Waste?
Well, yes. It started a little core group, and now it's grown to a larger core group. And at times during the year, many in the community have probably seen us out at all these big events, Turkey Rama,
yeah, we'll talk
Alien
about
Days,
that.
right?
Yeah.
There's over 200 volunteers that come in and help us during the course of the year. And we just had our Sustaining Circle dinner, and there were over 100 people there in support, which was wonderful. It was partly a dinner to celebrate the volunteerism,
sure,
and also to have our palms up a little bit and continue our efforts with our program.
So, how are you funded?
We're totally funded at this point by the members of our organization and kind citizens who we ask for donations.
Sure.
We do have an arm of our organization looking into grants, and that is sort of an ongoing process. We've just brought on a wonderful woman who is helping us in that regard, both with doing some strategic planning and also gearing up for some major funding efforts in the grant world. But at times we have been funded by the city of McMinnville has given us money. The county has given us money. Individuals have given us certainly a lot of money. We generate money in little ways as well. We have a bottle collection. This year we raised almost $2,000
wow,
in bottle collection, and that really made us feel good.
That's fantastic. And you talked a little bit about the Sustaining Circle, but explain what that means.
It's really the brainchild of Patricia Fay Marshall, who is such a champion of this organization. She really is the fist behind it, just really keeping us moving.
She's a founding mama.
She is. She's
incredible.
She's a force to be reckoned with. And she patterned it after the OPB funding mechanism,
Yeah.
where people every month put in a little bit of money as their budgets can allow.
Right.
And so every year we have this party, and we get incredible food donated by most of the restaurants in McMinnville. We get beautiful wine, and this time we had an incredible setting at Youngberg. Nicolette and Wayne Bailey offered up their space
Right.
in a donation, which was very generous of them. And then we had an incredible speaker, a gentleman from San Francisco, who really is incredibly knowledgeable on zero waste, that city being the city in the world that really
They
is
are
ahead of
the
the curve.
premier city, right?
They are. So this was like having, Al Gore to come talk about climate change or something.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And he was spectacular. He was really, really informative.
That was so inspiring. Apparently they've achieved 80% diversion.
That's
Right.
fantastic.
They're close, yeah.
So I really wanted to attend, but I got sick.
Oh.
So I just donated money.
Well, that's very kind
We
of
will
you.
take
How-
it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll put it to good use.
So let's talk about the Bag It Better program, your old ordinance eliminating plastic shopping bags in McMinnville. Please talk about Bag It Better program in McMinnville, both successes and some pushback that I've seen in editorials.
Right. Well, we decided to do this initiative and researched how it had gone through the arc in other cities and municipalities.
Right.
And when this whole movement started early on, decades ago, the plastic industry was very opposed to it because they felt that we were attacking their industry and
Sure.
their product. By the time McMinnville decided to do it, which we were the 10th city in Oregon to do it,
Right.
we had no real opposition outside of McMinnville. We simply had people who were ideologically opposed to government coming in and telling them what to do.
Uh-huh.
It's a common refrain on some sides of the political aisle.
Right.
And so we knew that, and we tried really, really, really hard to inform and to not push this through with a battering ram. So we were in the paper innumerable times.
Right.
There were 4 hearings. We contacted every major retailer in the city who was going to be affected by this over and over again and developed personal relationships.
We gave out bags.
We did. We thought we did a really, really, really great job, and there was no opposition coming forward at the hearings or in any of the
Right.
actual policy making.
Yeah, I was at a
which
lot
the-
of those meetings.
Right, which the city did. And the best thing that happened was when we went to do this initiative and they finally voted. We had simply asked to ban single-use plastic bags, and we were saying, there have to be alternatives. And in most cities, there are very thick plastic bags that people put their logos on that are reusable.
Right.
And we hadn't really considered that, as a problem. It's something that could use. And the city decided, for the first time in the state, the only city that's done this, if we're going to ban plastic bags, we're going to ban all plastic bags.
Right.
So they went fully to, you can only replace single-use plastic bags with paper bags.
Or cloth
Or
bags.
or you bring your own.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what we're trying to do.
Right.
I mean, any sort of controversy or ideological division goes away if you simply just bring your own cloth bag in. There's no cost to it. It's great for the environment. The checkers and the grocery stores are fine with it.
Right.
It's incredible. But there was also some opposition. People who resented having to pay for something that
A nickel, yeah.
that they had been used to getting for free.
Right.
But it turns out that it's more costly as a paper bag, and it wasn't fair to the retailers to add that cost in with them. They would have to absorb it.
Right.
And especially some of the bigger stores could have absorbed it, but the smaller stores would then have to have competed, and they would have, their bottom line is so marginally close
Sure.
that they had to have the opportunity through an ordinance mandate by the city to require that everyone be on a level playing field
Sure.
and charge the 5 cents. Plus, it's an incentive. It's a lawyer telling you, 5 cents, maybe next time I'll bring my cloth bag.
Very good. So I remember a day before this all occurred when I lived on Baker Street and I would see plastic bags blowing down the street on the sidewalk almost daily.
Yeah, tumbleweeds.
Yes. 2 incredible things have happened. I stopped one of the gentlemen who sweeps up and down Highway 18 collecting litter, and posed the question to him. Of course, he didn't know who I was. If he did, he might have another answer, but that's another subject. I said, so are you seeing a reduction in plastic bags in the litter that you're actually picking up? And he said, absolutely. And I said, do you think it's because of the bag ban? And he said, well, I'm not really in favor of that. But yeah, it seems to be less on the highways, which was wonderful to come to our ears. But the other thing that's really important in a commercial aspect is the big Chinese conflict with contaminated waste
Yes.
that they are no longer taking.
Right.
What is the contamination? Most often it is plastic bags.
Yep.
The plastic bags get caught in the gears. They oftentimes have food in them. There's all sorts of hidden things in them.
Sure.
So the Chinese reject that type of contamination. So now that we've removed it from the McMinnville waste, from our co-mingle,
Right.
McMinnville's garbage is considered superior. We have primo, co-mingle waste, which allows our hauler, Recology, to go to the facilities where they must send our collected waste and get a better price.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're coveted. Our trash is coveted.
We have superior trash.
What a thing to be known for.
Right.
So, the recent Salem decision to do the same thing.
And did you notice that if you listened to OPB and if you were watching the live stream of their discussion, what did they refer to? The McMinnville ordinance,
right.
over and over again.
Right.
We worked really, really hard on that ordinance. It's a hybrid of all of the 9 other municipalities that came before us,
Sure.
which we met with personally, like Forest Grove, and really tried to
Corvallis, all of them, yeah.
And then, of course, in the end of the day, it was the city council, the lawyer, who put together that ordinance.
Right.
And it was accepted unanimously.
Yes.
And then we're very excited that Salem has picked up on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Bag It Better recently being discussed in Newburgh.
Newburgh's a hard sell.
Yeah.
That's a different city.
Boy, howdy.
Right. And so that ideological division that I spoke of, where government isn't supposed to tell you what to do, plays much harder in that city.
Yeah.
And so they are going to take it slowly and make sure. We admittedly feel, even though we tried really, really hard to inform the public and work with the vendors and all that sort of stuff, we encourage them really, really to be out front as much as possible and take a little more time.
Sure.
And so they're holding back and doing it slowly, but they do have a new city council.
Yes.
And they, I think, are going to be quite responsive to at least really seriously considering this. And Howie, I think it's just inevitable. It's going to happen. It's happening in countries and all over the place. So it just is great that this state is eventually maybe going to go all plastic bagless.
Wouldn't that be something? But at least the discussion is being talked about in Newburgh and other cities and towns, I'm sure.
Right, and the whole state of California is
That's fantastic.
gone. So
McMinnville City Council's recent decision to table their Recology Resolution 2018-61 regarding price increase for recycling to McMinnville customers.
Oh,
wow. This is
And I know, on a league.
this is my baby. I have been talking to the city council for a couple of years now. I actually...
She's the Styrofoam lady.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
the
she is.
Styrofoam.
And that's our next thing, so there it is.
I go to the city council meeting with this in my hand, and they have come to recognize me on the basis of my
Yes,
chunk.
I understand.
My chunk of styrofoam. We know that styrofoam is a horrible ecological disaster.
Yes.
It's not only cluttered our beaches and our streams and the cities where the coffee cups run rampant. Styrofoam is showing up in the oysters and the salmon and the things that we eat out of the ocean. It's very, very important to address this. We now know that since styrofoam is manufactured with benzene, it contains cancer-causing
Right.
chemicals. The APA has actually termed it to be a suspected carcinogen. So it's a serious, serious problem.
Yes.
We need to be aware that it can be recycled. Styrofoam, actually, let me show you one other thing. Excuse me, I have to reach for this. This is the original Styrofoam. It was actually blue board that is used for insulation purposes in buildings.
I remember this stuff.
It was the original.
And it's denser too.
Yeah, there are many different kinds of Styrofoam. This is now in America and in Canada called Styrofoam, but it is actually expanded polystyrene. Polystyrene is number 6 plastic. And number 6 plastic is a number of different things. One of them being the infamous red cups that are blown around in the wind quite a bit too.
Right.
Another polystyrene project is the clamshells that are, in takeout.
Sure.
We need to get rid of these. There are a lot of communities, actually, several in Oregon, and communities all around the world that have banned these for food use. One of the issues is that when there are oily, greasy foods in here, they more readily absorb the harmful chemicals.
Sure.
And so when you eat food out of here, you don't know for sure what you're getting.
So it wicks up into the food itself.
Yes, it's a known carcinogen, and we are still using it. My understanding is that the entire country of France has banned these for use in food.
That doesn't surprise me.
Oh, smart people.
And I see more and more vendors going away from this.
Yes.
And when they do their boxing, they do it with cardboard.
There is quite a bit of progress. People are becoming more aware that this is not a desirable product. This is something that really needs to be watched carefully.
It's also just a factoid. The Downtown Association has banned it in use when it accepts applications for vendors to do the street fair.
Oh, very good.
During Turkey Rama and Alien Days.
That makes so much sense.
It's a requirement that they not bring into our community styrofoam.
Yeah.
So, above and beyond styrofoam, let's talk about the gentleman who's the expert on recycling this product.
Her new BFF.
Yes, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, at the city council meeting, we were able to invite John DeMarteau, who is a functionary in the Agilix Corporation in Tualatin, Tigard.
Yep.
And he was able to describe for the city council that their processes can actually use styrofoam to melt it down into the individual components, chemicals, and reintroduce it into manufacturing so that it does not go to waste, so that it actually gets out of the waste stream. And I think that the city councilors were impressed with that information and were willing to have a closer look at what can be done here in McMinnville.
Well, I certainly saw their light bulbs going off at the city council the other night.
Yeah, Councilperson Remy Drempkin had asked in a previous meeting to the head of Recology, isn't there something out there, somewhere in the world, that is going to take this problem that we can help you bring to McMinnville? And his answer at this time was, there's a lot of things out there, they just don't really pencil out, or they just aren't there. And so, we sort of threw down the gauntlet. Well, there is this gentleman, and oh, by the way, he grew up in McMinnville. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, it's an Oregon company. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, we have this organization, which is really well along in its mission. This is a great moment right now.
Truly.
When you're considering a rate increase for an emergency, right?
Right.
About recycling.
Right.
What a better time than to step up, do the right thing, and ask our hauler, who seems totally amenable to do this, and do it now.
And you can understand Recology's point of view that they're losing money in their recycling processes. Because the people internationally that were taking all of that are not taking it anymore.
Yeah, this was an emergency ask.
Yes.
This was not a timely scheduled rate increase.
Right. It's going to be very interesting how this figures out economically, because the problem is simply storing the material and collecting it.
Sure.
And shipping it to Agilix, for example.
And Tiger, yep.
Yes, and the styrofoam is very bulky and takes up a lot of room. It has to be hauled to a landfill,
Right.
and there are fees associated with that. There's costs associated with that. But if you take it out of the waste stream and devote those resources to storage and collection, it could be a wash. We need to find out. It could be that this is not a huge drain
Right.
on the economy of waste
Right.
hauling.
Very
Yeah,
much so.
the EPA, I believe, says that styrofoam and polystyrenes are basically 30% of the pie,
Right.
right? And that's a huge.
And they have a half-life of like 1,000,000
Yeah,
years or
just-
something.
Actually, they can practically live forever without the appropriate solvent that would reduce them into other components.
Well, my biggest concern is the ocean and the rivers and such, because that brings it back to us.
Right.
Right. The styrofoam consumed by marine animals can clog their digestive tracts,
Yeah.
make them starve and die.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, evil
So
stuff.
you guys meet at the public library on what days and times?
So we've just changed our schedule to better help get volunteers and work as an organization. So
Sure.
the first Monday at 5:30 of each month, we have an open meeting where we are going to be taking a different topic every time, and invite the public and try to introduce new volunteers and new participants,
Sure.
new members to our activities. And then the second Monday, we have a more business-like
Committee meeting.
Yeah, it's just sort of the in-house stuff,
Yeah.
house cleaning.
Yeah.
And then the third Monday is just a board meeting. So it's really the first Monday of every month at 5:30.
To 7 o'clock, yeah.
Yep.
I think we might have to skip January 1st and go with
Oh,
the
okay.
second Monday
Sure.
in January.
Right.
I know that Caroline just brought up your December schedule. I don't think that, yeah.
Yeah, there's
So,
times like
yeah.
that. So we have a really active website and Facebook page. So it'll come up on the screen later. You can always check that to see when the meeting.
So we've got about 7¼ minutes left. So I'm going to go into this really quickly. What do you think the overall benefit of McMinnville to the community is for zero waste?
One of our big aims is to get people thinking and making decisions before they go, trash is trash. Trash is not trash.
That's correct.
And we are hoping to start educating people starting in grade school. We have a Green Schools program that is hoping to introduce a curriculum that raises awareness even at that age. And we want to make recycling clearer so that people know which bin goes where.
Right.
Recology is starting a program that will make it very easy to look up, this goes, this is green bin, this is a red bin. So they're making great strides in making it clearer. Education is a big thing, and I think encouragement is
Sure.
one of my missions.
Sure.
I mean, I think of McMinnville as an island, a really, really beautiful
Yeah,
paradise. Sometimes I call it McMinntopia,
There you go. I
And
like
so part of taking care of ourselves is, responsibility.
Sure.
And so we all create waste and trash. And if we can flip people's perception of that it's not waste or trash, it's a potential resource, as are the people who are amongst us.
Right.
McMinnville has an incredible volunteer corps
that. Oh, yeah.
throughout all of the missions that everyone has, through the churches and through the nonprofits and all the public private services. So this is just another avenue for people to make this city really what we want it to be, and that is to be responsible for
Sure.
all of us.
Well, I just saw a picture of kids recycling in the grade schools, and that was very encouraging to see them that young learning about this process.
They are some of our biggest advocates and workers. I mean, they get it. They
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yep. And they will inherit our seats someday,
Right.
so let's,
Right.
yes. So do you have any upcoming events that the community should be aware of?
Right now, we sort of we circled the wagons to reorganize ourselves to be more efficient, and we've done that. And so we're going to be coming out this coming year with a lot of really great things. We always have our events. We're always in the green vests,
Right.
sorting trash and doing all
Can't
that sort of stuff. The Styrofoam initiative is a huge thing for us, and it's really moving along, and so we're going to concentrate a lot on it, because that's
Sure.
a true achievement that we can do. So it's piece by piece that we're
Right.
doing things.
Well, you guys do involvement in a lot of the festivals and stuff, such as the UFO Festival, the Turkey Rama, the IPNC International,
Yeah.
the McMinnville Downtown Association Farmers Market, the County Fair, Bounty of the County. I mean, we see you all the time.
Right. We're omnipresent, you know,
Really
people
important.
trying to really get the message out. I mean, this is so much about education and perception, and the more that people understand, you know, the decision to table the resolution by the city was unanimous.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It was, they understand, they're on board.
Yep.
They really, and that's, I'm going to, you know, give us a little credit. That's because we've been on them all the time and bringing forward really clear avenues and solutions to make a difference.
And awareness.
Yeah.
And my fondest hope is that the city will eventually create a sustainability task force,
Yes.
similar to addressing other areas that have been a real problem in
Right.
the community. We can generate a really comprehensive look at being a sustainable community.
Sure. So, how can community members get involved?
They can come to the meeting and get to know us. That's the best way, the first Monday. But also, we have clusters of families who, you know, recycle together.
Sure.
And they volunteer as a group, as a family activity during any number of the events that we offer.
Sure.
And then that's a wonderful way to get involved. And then if there's some person, you know, a latent hippie who's 90 years old, who's still upset about a particular thing that's wrong with the world relating to recycling, and they want to dedicate the last years of their life to research
Sure.
and advocacy.
Yeah.
You know, we're the body that will warmly embrace them and help them with all of our resources, our money, with our incredible people power,
Sure.
and with our burgeoning relationships with the city and with this incredible hauler. And I have to say, we are so lucky. I'm going to do a little pitch here for Recology. They are amazing. I mean, they're employee-owned.
Yeah.
They're not a landfilling company. They're a recycling company.
Right.
They have bent over backwards for us. In fact, they were the one who flew up the gentleman from San Francisco. They paid for his flight and his hotel to address us at our sustaining circle. So we can't speak more about it. And this was a little bit of a setback for them the other night.
Yeah.
And they took it so graciously. They were right back up there and said, we will get you the numbers. We're on board. We're going to do this, and we're going to
Awesome.
help you out.
Yeah.
So, my last question, why do each of you do this important work in community? And I'm going to start with you, Annalee. You have about 30 seconds. It
Oh,
doesn't
God.
have to be too long here.
I'm retired. I can't think of anything more valuable that I can do with my time.
Yes. And you're giving your time so that the future is just as bright for our
Exactly. I have a
children.
grandchild.
Yes.
Azalea will have a better world.
Yes.
No.
Ramsey McPhillips.
I've been doing this since I was tiny. In grade school, I started the recycling center. You know, there was a alumni book, and there's a
Right.
picture of me at age, you know, like 10, holding my parents' wine bottle, you know, trying to stick it into the right bin. I'm a persistent sucker. I keep up with things, and this is very important to me.
And no blow-in of plastic bags on your farm anymore. That must...
Well, that issue is pertinent to me,
Yes.
but that's a separate issue. But it does warm my heart to be able to drive down the highway to my farm and not see plastic bags
Awesome.
in the trees.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for being on
Thank
today.
you. It's really fun.
Thank you very much,
thank you,
Annalee.
Howie.
Nice to be with you today, both of you. So thank you very much for being on, and I'm really proud of what you guys have done.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I'm very, very happy.
I'm so
Thanks.
glad that you went to the meeting and you got to see the action at the State
Yes,
Council.
it was great.
That was awesome.
So thank you, Yamhill County, for watching today.